Welcome to Divine Christmas at Newell Stores. My name is James Devine. I'm head chef at Black Cat Restaurant in Ballygawley. Today I will be showing you some different dishes that can make your Christmas dinner a lot easier, a lot more accessible. All our dishes today are going to be made as simple for you as possible, and all the dishes can be made in advance, the night before, the day before, anything that makes it as stress-free as possible. We're going to show you some useful tips to make those dishes stand out. We're going to have a whole roast bird, braised beef, very slowly cooked. Brussels sprouts are still going to be in there. There's no escaping Brussels sprouts. We're going to have some nice honey roast vegetables, the perfect roast potatoes, and then we're going to have, to finish off, Christmas pudding cupcakes with a vanilla panna cotta and cranberry jelly. We begin making our stuffing, so our basic ingredients are onion, sage, rosemary, thyme, some butter, some breadcrumbs, and some sausage meat. You can add some other flavours to this if you like. You can omit some ingredients if they're not for your taste. You don't have to use all the herbs, the rosemary, the thyme, the garlic, etc. Stuffing very much is a preference. We're going to use it with some sausage meat today. You begin by just dicing your onion. If you want to save time or save fingers, you can use this food processor and just blitz all your ingredients up. All your ingredients would need to be chopped nice and fine. We have our moderately sized pot on the heat. We're going to sweat off the onion and our herbs. That's going to release some flavours. If we just mix these ingredients raw, we wouldn't get the same sweetness out of the onions. So we'll just begin by cooking this. First thing, pot on, not too hot heat. Small bit of oil. This is going to stop our butter from burning. So, general rule of thumb when making the stuffing, you want about half the amount of butter ratio to the ratio of breadcrumbs. So it actually looks like quite a lot of butter. So butter in, small bit of oil in, that's going to stop the butter burning. Onions, rosemary, thyme, and sage. So we're toasting this off. Onions are very acidic when you first cut into them. That's why the tears. When you cook them down, you release their natural sugars. It makes them sweet. You want that sweetness for your stuffing. So we're going to sweat off our onions and our herb mix. Once we get a small bit of colour, then we're going to be good to go to mix it with the sausage meat and then fill the bird. Right, while our stuffing is cooking, we are now going to make our flavoured butter. The flavoured butter is essential to providing some flavour, obviously, to the bird, and it's also going to provide some moisture. And instead of having to laboriously baste your turkey as it cooks, this butter is going to act almost as a self-basting. We are going to put it underneath the skin on top of the breast, and as it cooks, the flavours are going to perfume kind of through and around the bird. The ingredients we have are some sage, some rosemary, thyme, some garlic, and some lemon zest, and obviously some butter. We begin by chopping up these ingredients very small, almost to a powder. You can also put this through a RoboCoupe or a Magic Mix, and you can grind them yourself. When preparing garlic, you can use a garlic press, which makes this a lot easier. If you don't have a garlic crusher or a garlic press, you can do it a lot easier with a knife. So firstly, just slice. Then the trick at this point, just take a good pinch of salt. This will act as seasoning for the butter, and the acids in the salt actually help break down and pulverize the garlic. So run your knife over it, and then with your knife place your fingers at the tip, hand on the handle, and you're actually pressing through the garlic. We're just finishing off the flavoured butter. We've combined our lemon zest, our garlic, and our herbs, and then the butter. It's a lot easier if your butter is at room temperature and it's been softened, otherwise it's going to be very hard to mix all the flavours evenly. Butter's done. Butter's going to be placed underneath the skin. Stuffing is almost ready to be finished. It's going to be filled into the cavity, and then we're going to get the bird on that roasting tray and into the oven, ready to be roasted. Okay, so we're just going to finish off our stuffing. our onions have been sweated off, they've released some nice flavours. Breadcrumbs in. Breadcrumbs are soaking up all that flavour. Breadcrumbs in. And in with our sausage meat. So once we have combined our sausage meat and breadcrumbs and it's all come together in one kind of formed dough, then we're going to stuff this into the cavity of the bird and it's going to be ready to be put in the oven. There are two ways you can do this. The simplest way is just grab the meat and literally just place in, which is the easiest way, the less stress-free. Or if you want to be very strategic, you could portion it out into portion sizes and place them in. So then that way, you know, everybody's getting an equal amount of stuffing. But I prefer just to stuff it in, no nonsense. We're entering the final stages of prepping the turkey. We've the stuffing made. Then we just have to prepare the flavoured butter into the skin, put it on its roasting trivet and then into the oven, and we no longer have to worry about it. So you run your hand underneath the skin of the turkey on top of the actual breast, just moving your hand all the way to the bottom. Be very careful not to rip the skin. You're just going down both sides. You're just releasing almost like a pocket. And remove your hand. Take your flavoured butter. If you have a piping bag, this part is a lot easier. Piping bag, flavoured butter, simply insert. Squeezing the butter in underneath the skin. You can just see it coming out. This next part's the crucial part. With your hand on top of the skin, simply massage the butter as evenly as you can over both breasts. Now this butter will melt as it cooks and it will baste and flavour the bird. And we have got the butter in, the stuffing in. Right here is a prepared roasting tray. In here we got a mirepoix veg, that's a posh way of saying we got some carrots, onions, celery, garlic, some herbs. We also have some red wine and some water. We take the bird, place it on nice and neatly. This veg also acts as what chefs call a trivet. A trivet is just like a pivot that keeps the turkey up. That way it gets cooked all around, including the bottom of it, so the bottom of it's not sitting on the pan and getting overcooked where the top of it is getting undercooked. Just going to season the skin all over. Some salt. Rub that in. This is going to go into an oven at 180 degrees. It's going to go in at 180. We're going to leave it at 180 for 10 minutes and then we're going to bring it right down to 140. It's been preheating at 180 to give it a good blast, which is going to create that lovely golden brown colour. We're not going to put any oil on the surface because we've got a lot of fat below the skin. We shouldn't have to worry about this turkey for at least 3 hours. The second dish we're going to prepare following the turkey is our slow cooked beef. This is a silver side beef. You could use a rump joint, you could use chuck, blade, any slow cooking joint. We've portioned this into nice portion sizes. We're going to cook this for the best part of a day. So we're cutting nice big pieces because it is going to shrink down. So we're generously seasoning this beef with salt and pepper. Both sides. Have your pans on the heat, roasting hot. You're just cooking in oil, no butter. So you want your pans to be smoking. And that's a good sound. And that's an even better sound. Just like the turkey, we also have a roasting tray. So in here we've got some more vegetables. We're going to add some red wine. We're also going to add a chicken stock. You can use a beef stock. If you don't have any stock, you can use some water. Once we get that nice sear all over, what you want to do with, this is the pan that we've cooked the beef in, so all this here is sediment, that's flavour, so we want to keep that there. We're going to add in our vegetables, and they're going to take on the flavours of the beef. We're going to deglaze that pan with some wine. Vegetables into the same pan. The next thing we'll have is some tomato puree. So the tomato puree is going to act as a thickener for the sauce. That's going to give it a lovely richness. Also, we're just going to add some flour. So you're talking literally 1 to 2 tablespoons of flour. And you just want to lightly toast that flour. So we're just finishing off the final stages of the beef. We've coloured the beef, added it to a nice mirepoix veg casserole dish. This is some veg that we've sweated off in the same pan we coloured the beef. We've added some tomato puree, some flour. We've deglazed the pan with some red wine and some water. I'm scraping all that flavour off the bottom of the pan. I don't want to leave none of that. That's not burnt, that's just sediment. And I'm just going to pour that directly on top of the beef. That's going to help. I'm just going to cover this with tin foil and then straight into the oven. The next dish is butternut and ginger soup. So butternut squash and ginger soup. Very easy soup to make. We have our chopped butternut squash. We've got some onions, some garlic, some ginger. It all goes into the same pot at the same time. Just oil in, nice hot heat. And straight in with the veg. This particular soup you will get 3 to 5 days shelf life easy, so you can make it well in advance. This soup is very nutritious, the ginger is very good for you, it's very easily prepared. We're just going to colour this veg. You can hear that nice hot searing pan. We've got some chicken stock here. You can use vegetable stock if you prefer. Once we get a decent colour on this, we're going to just add some tomato puree for a greater depth of flavour. In with the stock, completely cover the veg, let it simmer for 20 minutes. Then we're going to process it, and that's it done. Very easy. In with our chicken stock. Okay, that's a good sound. Okay, so the veg is just covered. And then this here is a bouquet garni. It's just herbs being tied together with some string. So we just bring that to the boil, let it simmer 20 minutes, and it's done. While that's cooking, we move on to our smoked salmon salad. We need some smoked salmon. We need some prawns, we need some herbs, and then we're going to bind all this together with some mayonnaise. We'll just start relatively quick. So it's always good to work when you're in your station to have a waste bowl right beside you. Makes the area a lot neater and cleaner. Frozen prawns, very handy. You can have them in your larder, have them in the freezer. They're always very handy. We also got some fresh rocket. Naturally, when you're covering any lettuce, what you want to do is just cover it with a damp cloth. It can be kitchen paper, it can be a tea towel. I use just multi-purpose kitchen wipes. We got some mayonnaise. So roughly just 1 tablespoon. And then we got some chives, some spring onions, and some flat leaf parsley. The difference between chives, parsley, and herbs like rosemary and thyme is chives, parsley, will fall in the category known as soft herbs. Soft herbs have to be treated with a lot more care than hard herbs. Rosemary, thyme, your sage can be pretty angrily treated. They can be bashed up very vigorously like this. With soft herbs, you want to shred them or shave them. You're not constantly chopping them with a blunt knife, or you will bruise them. They will lose their flavour and they will go bad. Just turn our soup down. And here we've got some herbs, some prawns, some mayonnaise. You don't have to use mayonnaise. You could use some creme fraiche. You could use Mary Rose sauce. This here is called a microplane. So it's very useful for zesting lemons, oranges, limes. Just makes life a lot easier. They're readily available in most stores. So just about the zest of half a lemon. I'll put the juice of half a lemon in and then we'll taste it. So smoked salmon is quite salty, so we shouldn't have to add a lot of salt to this dish, but we do need to add some pepper. That's the right amount of lemon juice. It's the right amount of pepper. It doesn't need any salt. So the next stage, what you can do, very simply, you can serve your marinated prawns with a slice of smoked salmon, and that's nice. You can present it well. Or you can roll little parcels. All you need is some cling film. Just lay it out flat. Take one sheet of smoked salmon, a tablespoon of mix, and all you're doing is wrapping it just like a Christmas present. So fold in, and all we're doing is just rolling. So we have a neat little bundle, and then to secure this, just simply wrap this in cling film. Just press down. You want to push out all the air. You can just trim off any excess. What you're left with is this neat little bundle that can be made days before. These will keep for 3 to 5 days. Smoked salmon naturally has a very long shelf life. A lot of the hard work's behind us. We've got the turkey in the oven. The beef is also braising. We've got our starters boxed off. The next thing we're going to worry about is the accompaniments going with the main courses themselves. We're going to work on some honey roast vegetables. Here we've got some parsnips, some carrots, some garlic, rosemary and thyme. Just take your veg, all just cut up pretty chunky, nice rustic. Garlic in. The rosemary and thyme has been cut to a fine powder, and the garlic's been sliced thinly. I'm just going to add about 1 tablespoon of duck fat and a generous seasoning of salt and pepper. Some oil. You just get in there with your hands. So we're also going to add this some honey and some red onions. We're not going to add the honey or the red onions now because the red onions only take 5 to 10 minutes to cook. If we put them in now, they will burn. Likewise with the honey, if we put the honey in now, the honey will burn and you'll just kind of burn your whole batch of veg. So the best way to check, after these have been in the oven for about 30 minutes, just simply eat one when they're nice, when they're almost soft, and you just add your red onion, which has been chopped to the same size, and then add a drizzle of honey. Okay, so we're just finishing off our prepared veg. We pot of boiling water with salt. Salted boiling water always for green vegetables. Brussels sprouts go in. We're going to boil them for 2 to 5 minutes just so they're slightly tender. Then take them out into ice cold water to refresh them, to stop them cooking and to keep them green. In here we have just potatoes which we've cut into wedges. They're salted water again. We are parboiling these. Basically that just means they're going into a pot of boiling water for a couple of minutes. That's going to start the cooking process. We're going to drain them and then roast them in the oven with some duck fat. Turkey's in the oven, roasting away. We don't have to worry about it. Hard work's been done there. The beef is braising. We've got all our vegetables and our potato dishes complete. Everything's just in the oven. What we've left to do with the main course, we still have to finish our roast veg, finish off our Brussels sprouts to order just when we're going on them. Finish the soup. The starters for the salmon is boxed, it's in the fridge. Now we're going to move on, start prepping for our Christmas pudding and our panna cottas, and then it'll soon be time to serve. So now making the panna cotta, very, very easy dessert to make. All we need is some cream, whipping cream or double cream, some caster sugar, some gelatine, and some vanilla. Sugar goes in. This is 200 grams of sugar. This is 1 pint of cream. Then we got a vanilla pod, which we have split. And then we just put this on the heat and bring that to the boil. So all we have in there is some cream, double or whipping, some vanilla and some sugar. Just bring that to the boil, and that's all you have to do for now. While that's coming to the boil, what you need is some sheet gelatin. You can also use powdered gelatin. If you're using sheet gelatin, you have to soak it in cold water. Soak it in cold water, not hot water. If you soak it in hot water, it will just dissolve like sugar would in your tea. To go with the panna cotta, we also have a jelly. We're making a cranberry jelly. So all you need to do is buy some cranberry juice onto a pot again and bring it to the boil. For the jelly, we're adding some gelatin. The general rule of thumb when you're making any panna cotta, you want to use 2.5 leaves per pint of liquid. For a jelly, you want to change that ratio slightly because you want it more jellified. So for 2.5 for a panna cotta, you would make it 3.5 for a jelly. The cream is on for the panna cotta, so it's just coming just before the boil. All we're doing now is adding our gelatin, which has been soaked in the cold water. So you just need a whisk to whisk it in so it's nice and smooth. Just grab your gelatin, which has been soaking in cold water, squeeze out all the excess water. You're simply whisking that in. Whisk it really evenly, or what will happen is you'll have lumps. And then this is ready to be poured into our serving dishes. So you can put this into a martini glass, a wine glass, you can pour it directly into a bowl. Just fill these up and then place them into the fridge for the panna cotta to set. So we want it to be the consistency of a thick custard. We just have the cupcakes left to complete. Cupcakes, Christmas pudding cupcakes. A lot of people can be put off by Christmas pudding because there's so many ingredients go into it. Don't be daunted by it. If you take your time and weigh it all up correctly, it's easy. We have a KitchenAid here. You can use a food processor. If you don't have that, you can do this by hand. In the machine right now we have some butter and sugar. We're going to cream the butter and sugar. That just means we're going to beat it till it's light and it's fluffy. We also have here some eggs, some dried fruit, some walnuts, some chocolate chips, some spices, mixed spice, nutmeg, cinnamon. And then we have some orange and lemon and apple, some brandy. So lots and lots of ingredients. We just begin by first just creaming the butter and sugar. So now you're just grating your orange and your lemon. We've just grated the apple. All this is going to be combined. There's a lot of ingredients in here, from dried fruit, nuts, chocolate chips, spices, cinnamon, fruit, zest of oranges and lemons. We're just going to fill our cupcake molds, and then these are going to go into an oven at 150 degrees. 150 to 170, anywhere in that region will be fine. And you're going to bake them for 40 minutes approximately. You can test they're ready by stabbing them with a small knife or a skewer. If the knife or skewer comes out cleanly, they are ready. Okay, so that's it. That's Christmas dinner boxed off, all complete, no stress, no hassles. We've got our squash soup. We finished it with some cream, some fresh chives and some pumpkin seeds, just to give it that bit of an extra level. You don't have to add these things, these are just these next touches. Presentation is important. And we have our smoked salmon. We just added a bit of rocket salad, added some balsamic dressing and some cherry tomatoes. On the side we served some wheaten bread. Moving on from our starters, if we start with our garnishes, our sides, we first had our honey roast veg. Remember, we finished it with the honey and the red onion 10 minutes before the vegetables were done, just to give them that nice shine, that nice bite, that caramelised taste. Our roast potatoes, we flavoured them with some garlic and rosemary. We also have our Brussels sprouts, which we've done with a little twist. We've added some bacon, some walnuts and some almonds. We've tossed them in a pan so you get that nice nutty flavour, so not just like a boring old Brussels sprout, we've added some depth. So we'll have the turkey in for a grand total between 3 and 4 hours. We'll put it in an oven at 180. We'll then reduce that heat right down. See, we got that nice, lovely, crispy, golden brown skin. It's moist on the inside. We've got the stuff in there, perfumed the flavour through it. The flavoured butter acted a treat. Then moving on to our braised beef, it's now spoon tender. It's really just melt in your mouth, break apart, keeping the juices from the beef, and they acted as a gravy. We've also been able to keep all the juice from the turkey, and that can be used as a gravy. You can thicken that up just with some packet bought Bisto, or you can make a roasting jus yourself by just reducing that juice right down. Moving on to dessert, we've got our vanilla panna cottas. We've just finished them with some fresh raspberries and a bit of raspberry coulis. Same again, just to bring it to that next level. You don't have to. Another nice sweet treat is to serve them with some biscuits or fresh cookies, just for a bit of texture, a bit of crunch. And then to finish, we'll have the Christmas pudding cupcakes. We've decorated them to look almost like a Christmas tree. That explains the crazy green food colouring, just to give it that. It's a bit of fun, it's Christmas. All the ingredients you saw here today are available at Newell Stores. You can get them in store, either branch. For any information about recipes and methods, visit the website online, newellstores.com. I'm James Devine from Black Cat Restaurant in Ballygawley. I hope you all have a divine Christmas at Newell Stores.